Right, hello and welcome back. In our ongoing series of applied sports science and freestyle kayaking, we explore the principles of deliberate practice in your boat and out of your boat. We've also done video review. Today, however, we're diving into a crucial aspect of skill development, the role of coaching. You might be wondering, I've been paddling for years, do I really need a coach? Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, the right coach can be a game changer in your freestyle kayaking journey. In this video, we're going to explore long-term coaching versus short-term coaching, how a skill coach complements your self-directed learning, specific ways a coach can enhance your deliberate practice, what to look for in a freestyle kayaking coach, and how to effectively work with your coach to maximize your progress. I'm also going to address common concerns about working with a coach, from cost consideration to fears about losing autonomy in your training. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how coaching fits into the deliberate practice framework and how it can help you break through plateaus in your freestyle kayaking skills. So grab your paddles, metaphorically speaking of course, and let's dive into the world of expert coaching in freestyle kayaking. Starting off, I'm going to talk about the two coaching timescales that are present at the moment: short-term coaching and long-term coaching. Short-term coaching, it typically involves just a few sessions and offers a burst of focused guidance that can be ideal for addressing specific techniques or preparing for immediate challenges. It's like a little tune-up for your skills, providing quick feedback and targeted improvements. This approach can be great for experienced kayakers looking to refine particular aspects of their performance or newcomers seeking for initial direction in their paddling. On the other hand, long-term coaching, where an athlete and a coach work together over extended periods, allows for a more comprehensive development of skills, strategies, and mental approaches. This sustained relationship enables the coach to truly understand the athlete's strengths, weaknesses, and learning style, facilitating personalized training and progressive skill building. Long-term coaching can be particularly beneficial for competitive kayakers or those aiming for significant skill advancements, as it provides consistent support, accountability, and the opportunity to work through various stages of development. While short-term coaching can offer valuable insights and quick fixes, long-term coaching often leads to more profound and lasting improvements in overall performance and technique mastery. The rest of this video will talk about coaching on a more long-term side, but nearly all of what I'm about to say and talk about also applies to short-term coaching. But because of the short-term nature, its actual effectiveness is a little bit decreased rather than long-term. Balance in coaching. The big question here is, does coaching instantly make you a better paddler? From experience, no. In freestyle kayaking, the most effective skill development comes from balancing self-directed learning with coach sessions. I have some recommendations on how to strike that balance here. I'll run through them nice and quickly. Use your coach sessions strategically at key points in your training. Come to sessions prepared with specific goals and questions and stuff you want to get done. Apply what your coach says to you when you're practicing by yourself. Maintain a little training log to track your progress to make sure you're actually achieving the goals that you're setting out for yourself and the coaching is actually effective. Communicate openly with your coach about your training. It's no good if you're not being honest about the struggles or the successes that you are seeing in training. Develop your self-analysis skills and compare it with the coach's feedback. This is where that previous video on video review is extremely useful. Remember, coaching complements your personal efforts. It doesn't replace them. The goal is to become a self-sufficient, analytical kayaker who can benefit from expert input when needed. This balanced approach helps you maximize your growth and elevate your performance in freestyle kayaking. Before we dive in any further into coaching, I'm just going to have a little talk about the hesitations some of you might have about coaching. These are hesitations that I had when I sought out coaching for the first time as well. And it's natural to have reservations about working with a coach. Many athletes, myself included, worry about cost, fear of criticism, losing autonomy. However, these concerns shouldn't hold you back from potentially game-changing guidance. When we're talking about cost, coaching is an investment. Consider the long-term benefits. A good coach can accelerate your progress potentially saving you time and preventing costly mistakes. Some people will have a fear of criticism. Remember, constructive feedback is a tool for improvement, not judgment. A skilled coach provides critique to help you grow, not to tear you down. Some athletes will feel if they have a coach, they'll have a loss of autonomy. However, quality coaching will work with your independence and will enhance it rather than diminish it. You'll gain skills for better self-assessment and self-directed training through coaching, allowing you to be more independent in the long run if that is your training style. A lot of kayakers do work full-time as well as trying to train to be the best they can be. Some people do have a concern that paying for coaching means they would have to commit more time to it. But coaching doesn't have to consume all your practice time. Even periodic sessions here and there can significantly impact your performance. Hopefully with those little bits there, it can put your mind at ease if you're a bit hesitant about seeking out coaching. Now I'm going to talk about the expectations you should have as an athlete for a coach. When you're seeking a coach in freestyle kayaking, it's crucial to have clear expectations. Based on the research, scientific research I've done, these are the things a high quality coach should provide. They should provide expert feedback. That means specific actionable critiques of your technique that you can use. Timely observations during those practice sessions or timely observations coming back from video review. The video review should have a very quick turnaround so you can action those key steps the coach tells you to work on. Detailed analysis of your mental performance and preparation. With freestyle kayaking being such a small sport, freestyle coaches play the role of teaching you physical skills and helping with your mental performance in competition. I will talk more about that later. Some coaches could also provide structured training programs. This could be personalized training plans tailored to fit your skill level and goals. Progressive routines that challenge you appropriately, especially if you're trying to learn a particular move. For example, if you are trying to learn a lunar loop, a coach could say to you to practice doing a cartwheel into a loop. This will help you prepare and understand landing on edge, on the nose, and moving and rotating out of it into a looping move. It also needs to be a mix of on-water practice and dry land exercises or exercise you do at home, and any other strategies mentioned in previous videos. All of this should be included from your coach. A coach should also provide motivation and accountability. It should be part of the coach's job, should be part of your job as well, to regularly check in about your progress. It's also important to encourage during challenging phases of training, especially when you're starting off. I know myself, when I started off, I fell on my face a lot. I know everyone who's watching this who's done freestyle has fallen on their face a lot. It can be demotivating, it can be discouraging. And that is where the coach really does need to help you with that motivation and accountability. And finally, clear communication and expectations. This is where, between a coach and an athlete, I think there should be a formal or informal contract or agreement outlining the number of sessions kind of per week or per month that you expect to do together. The type of each session, whether this is going to be more focusing on your skill development or focusing on your mental skill development. The goals for the relationship overall. An overall time scale that you will commit to and then review at the end of that time scale. It should also include the responsibilities of both the coach and the athlete. Regular reviews of this agreement to ensure it meets your evolving needs is essential. You need to be willing to adjust your training plans based on your progress or your changing goals. And you need to be able to work with your schedule and with your coach's schedule as well. Now remember, a good coach-athlete relationship is a partnership. You should feel comfortable discussing your needs, concerns, and goals openly with your coach. If you're not receiving these elements from your coaching sessions, it may be worth having a conversation with your coach or considering other options. I will talk about that specific situation a bit later on. As you now know, the expectations you as an athlete should have for a coach, you need to have a think about the qualities you want to look for in a freestyle coach. So when you're looking for a freestyle coach, you need to look at their skills as a whole. And as an athlete, you want the absolute best to help your skill development. Now, your skill development goes beyond just, can you do this trick, this trick, this trick? I categorize skill development into a framework. This framework was introduced to me by Jack Jackson, and it is technical, tactical, physical, psychological. This is a very common approach used in other sports coaching. It provides a holistic view of athlete development and performance. While it's a useful tool, it's important to consider its strengths and limitations. I'll talk about the strengths first, and I'll talk about the limitations afterwards and why I have a slight modification to this. The technical aspect focuses on specific skills and movements required in freestyle kayaking. This component is especially significant because it encompasses the coach's technical knowledge, their understanding of freestyle kayaking moves. Whether they can do them themselves or not, it's a deep understanding that you need of how they work. The ability to break down these complex movements into teachable components. Knowledge of how different moves link together effectively to maximize your effectiveness on the water. Understanding your body positioning and boat control. All of this is linked back to our previous video on video review, where we talked about our 3 video review frameworks of boat, body, blade, background, trim, edge and rotation, and framing. In addition to this technical knowledge, the coach should also have good communication skills. They should be able to communicate this technical breakdown of a movement in simple terms that you as an athlete can understand. This means using clear, effective demonstrations. It means having the capacity to adapt their teaching methods to your learning style. This is a real skill when it comes to providing constructive, actionable feedback. This technical component is often considered the foundation of freestyle kayak coaching, as it directly impacts an athlete's ability to execute moves and progress in the sport. Next, we have tactical. There are a lot of things that can fall into this category. This is a judge of how good the coach is at the following. Feature assessment. This is assessing the feature and giving you useful feedback on how the feature is formed. Where's the best place to throw tricks? Where are the flushy spots? How does the feature change with a changing water level? How will you have to adapt to those changes throughout the hole and throughout the water level? Risk assessment. Your coach will help you balance high risk versus high reward moves with safer options and will help you develop backup plans for your ride. As I mentioned, the coach can also help you with your environmental adaptation. This is your strategies for different water levels. If there's a huge amount of rain the night before, how would you adapt to a higher water level that you might not have paddled at before? Also under the tactical heading is specific things about competition rules. There are some situations in competitions where things might go slightly wrong, might be slightly incorrect. And this is where your coach really needs to know the rules inside and out to be able to represent you when dealing with these issues. Effective tactical coaching aims to create well-rounded athletes who perform at their best while contributing positively to the sports community. Focus should be on enhancing personal performance rather than negatively impacting others, which unfortunately is not always the case. Our next component is the physical component, and this extends beyond what tricks can you do and how well you can do them. We are talking about kayak-specific fitness, your core strength for your boat control, your endurance for your extended sessions, your explosive power for your dynamic moves that you need to complete, your flexibility so you can actually move through all of these technical maneuvers without risk of injuring yourself. What off-the-water training do you do? Do you do targeted gym workouts? Do you do sport-specific conditioning? Do you do injury prevention exercises like prehab? Do you have any recovery techniques that you do off the water to help you when you get back on the water? You have your nutrition and hydration. This is your pre-session fueling, your competition day nutrition, hydration strategies, and your recovery nutrition, as well as your day-to-day nutrition of eating healthily as an athlete. You also have your lifestyle factors, your sleep quality and routine, your work-life training balance, your stress management, and your active recovery practices. Some of this could obviously fall into the psychological part, which I'll talk about in a moment. The physical component is about building and maintaining a body that can meet the high demands of freestyle kayaking while supporting long-term athletic development through healthy lifestyle choices. And all of this links in with a healthy lifestyle overall, which has been proven to be good for you. Surprise, surprise. Moving on to the psychological component. It is crucial in freestyle kayaking, encompassing the mental skills needed both in training and in competition. I'm going to break down some of the psychological things that are important for a coach to be able to help you deal with. You have mental preparation. This is your pre-competition routines, your visualization techniques for moves, your goal setting and progression planning, competition day mental strategies. Next we have our focus management. How are we maintaining concentration during runs and during the day of the competition? How are we managing distractions, crowds, conditions and competitors? Do we have our present moment awareness? How can we recover from mistakes mid-run? We have our resilience development, bouncing back from unsuccessful attempts, handling competition pressure, dealing with fear, especially if you're doing a competition or even just paddling in big water, managing your setbacks and injuries. All of this is part of the resilience development that should go on with your coach. And we have confidence building, something that is incredibly crucial for junior athletes. It's about progressive skill development, positive self-talk, learning from failures, and building and maintaining momentum. The psychological component is about developing mental toughness and adaptability, enabling athletes to perform at their best regardless of conditions or pressure. It's not just about being mentally strong during competition, it's about building sustainable mental habits that support long-term development in the sport and in life as well. Now, this TTEPPS framework has a lot of strengths. It provides a comprehensive overview of athlete development. It's pretty easy to understand and it's pretty easy to apply. It also covers the major aspects of sports performance. However, there are some limitations. It can oversimplify complex interactions between these elements. Even as I was going through them there were some skills that I said in tactical that could go into psychological. There are some skills that I said in technical that could go into physical. There's some skills that you do in physical that can help you psychologically. Because these complex interactions do go on, does not mean that we shouldn't use the TTEPPS framework. It just means we need to be aware of them and mindful of them as we use it. However, the TTEPPS framework doesn't explicitly address any social factors or environmental factors that athletes might encounter as they go through their freestyle kayaking journey. This has led me to modify the TTEPPS framework to include these factors. My first modification is a social factor, and this is a coach's ability to work on the following social aspects as they are also key to an athlete's overall development. Relationship building. This is how quickly the coach can develop a meaningful and trusting relationship with their athlete. This is also how can the coach support their athlete in maintaining relationships in freestyle kayaking. We also have the cultural context. Different regions may have varying approaches to the sport, influencing training methods and competition styles. Cultural attitudes towards risk-taking and outdoor activities can also affect an athlete's approach to the sport. Different cultures can also lead to differences in communication styles, which can mean that communication between the athlete and coach can become stilted or overly confrontational on the other side. And we have a support network. Can the coach make effective use of the athlete's support network? Finally, social media. Sometimes social media can be very beneficial to allow athletes to be part of the community, and sometimes it can be really detrimental. A good coach should be able to advise effective use of social media. All of these factors need to be handled and utilised well by a skilled coach to maximise their absolute effectiveness in improving a freestyle kayaker's overall skills in the rest of their practice. And now we have environmental factors. The environmental factors are obviously going to have a huge impact on freestyle kayakers as a whole. We are in the environment as we are paddling. Whether you're in a man-made course or on a natural feature on the river, the water is still flowing through, it is still part of the environment. It is a very important job of the coach to facilitate their athletes improving as much as possible, regardless of these environmental factors, and being conscious of these environmental factors. Our first environmental factor is training locations. Access to diverse water features, different types of waves, holes, can definitely impact skill development. Proximity to suitable training sites also affects training frequency and quality. As a coach, this is something you do need to be aware of with your athletes. Our climate and seasonality. Weather conditions and seasonal changes limit or enhance training opportunities. In the winter, in some parts of Europe, the rivers are frozen. You can't paddle. Late in the summer, the rivers are empty. You can't paddle. Adapting to these various water flows and temperatures is crucial so you can have a well-rounded skill development. Another essential for a coach, I think, is environmental ethics. The sport is developing, and there is a lot. The sport is developing, and freestyle kayakers have been very good at using natural features or long-term installations of man-made features like low-head dams and weirs. However, there is a much bigger push as of late for pumped courses. These courses take huge amounts of power. This power needs to be generated somewhere. Coaches and athletes should consider that before using these pumped courses. Finally, we have safety considerations. Safety considerations should be and always are number one in every coach and athlete's mind. Environmental hazards specific to each training site or competition site require adaptability and risk management skills. Coaches should be very aware of the skill level of their paddlers and should always ensure that their safety is fundamental in every session and location. Don't bring paddlers to places where they will not be safe based on their skills. Now, with these additional aspects, we have gone from the TTEPPS framework to the TTEPPS framework. As that's a mouthful, I'm going to call it the TEPPS framework for short. And no, I didn't come up with E and S just to make it easier to say. That's just how it worked out. Now, I know that that's a lot of information. And you might be wondering at this point, how on earth am I going to find a coach that does all that stuff? Or how am I even going to know if I need the coach to do all that stuff? This is where we select our coach based on one of two options. We either go for a coach with complementary skills, or we go for a coach with weakness and strength matching. Now I'm going to show you some graphs because I love graphs. Now, if you take a coach's skills in each of the 6 areas: technical, tactical, physical, psychological, environmental, social. And you just give them a rough score out of 10. You'll be able to see they form some kind of radar graph like this. Now, as an athlete, you might want a coach who has skills that are 10 out of 10 all the way across the board. Well, not exactly. First off, finding someone like that is like finding a unicorn who can also paddle freestyle really well and also is a social butterfly and also is very environmentally conscious and knowledgeable. It's not really going to happen. Secondly, if someone like that did exist, they would probably already be coaching several athletes and would probably not be able to take on more athletes. Although, in saying that, demand does not equate to quality of coaching. This is where you will have to do a bit of compromise and comparison. I recommend you create a radar graph for yourself. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. Then, based on your strengths and weaknesses, you look for a coach either with complementary skills or strengths where you have weaknesses. For example, if you are incredibly technically proficient, but you really struggle with the pressure of competition, you would not look for a coach whose main focus is on technical skill development. You would look for someone who is more skilled in psychological and tactical skills. Now, I'm aware it's really easy for me to say, oh, just pick a coach that has skills that you don't have, as if there is a huge array of coaches that are eagerly waiting for athletes to ask them questions and join their coaching team. That is not currently the case in the freestyle kayaking community. However, what this exercise does is inform you about the less obvious things that you might look to include in your coaching agreement. This can inform your long-term goals with your coach. Only paddle one feature? Get some variety in your life and go paddle many different features regardless of their quality. Know that you're mentally tough and competitive from years of competing in another discipline, but don't really have the skills in freestyle yet. Aim to do more skill-based sessions with your coach. You get the idea. Now, in addition to freestyle-specific coaches, another option exists, and that would be to get a person external to freestyle kayaking to help you develop some of your weaker areas. This would mean that you might end up with more than one coach that will both help you develop overall. You could have one coach for freestyle skills and freestyle strategy, that'd be your technical and tactical. You could have another coach who helps you with your strength and conditioning and nutrition, who could really help you with the physical side of things. For me, this came in the form of really struggling with competition anxiety and mental resilience in competition. It's something that I still need to work on. That's a story for another day. When I really identified this issue, I researched online and started working with a dedicated sports psychologist. This guy had never heard of freestyle kayaking before. But over the course of that year, my average ride score improved by 60%. He was addressing areas that I had as a weakness, that previous coaches who had worked with me was a weakness for them. And based on that and my personal situation, this was incredibly helpful to my freestyle development. I'm saying that, and I am a very experienced freestyle athlete. Some of you watching this video are going to be completely new to the sport, and you might not have any idea how to properly evaluate your own TTEPPS skills or a coach's TTEPPS skills. If that is you, aim for somebody, a coach, who is good with social and psychological skills. They will be able to build relationships with you faster, get you introduced to the freestyle kayaking as a community, support you through the tough early days of falling on your face, because it's going to happen a lot. Like, a lot. All of the above skills are extremely useful, But if your coach likes to deliver those skills that suit you in a particular style, and that style doesn't really match with who you are, what you like, and how you like to learn, this last section is for you: coaching styles. Coaches can adopt generally a few different styles. I'll talk about 3 of the main ones here. We have autocratic. This is a coach-led approach where the coach provides direct instruction and feedback. This is where the coach will say, we arrive at the course at this time, we go paddling for this amount of time, then we sit down and we do our book and we write in our journal for this amount of time. Then you have a lunch break, and then you can go back and we will do another session. And it's all very laid out and it's all very controlled. You see this a lot with freestyle camps that are run. Then we have democratic. This is a collaborative approach where the coach and the kayaker work together to set goals and develop a training plan together. You see this in the longer term coaching. Finally, we have a holistic approach. This is an athlete-centered approach that focuses on a kayaker's overall development, including physical, mental, and emotional aspects. You see this very commonly in long-term coaching. Coaches will usually use some combination of these styles. Also, depending on where you are in your freestyle journey, different styles may be more beneficial. If you're getting started out, having the cognitive load of when to arrive at the course, what time to do the sessions removed can be extremely useful to you. However, a good coach should aim to modify their style to the athlete they are working with as that athlete develops and grows. Some coaches will be able to do this. Some coaches will not be able to do this as effectively. It depends on the coach. In this section, we will talk about all the strategies you can use to pick the right coach for you. Armed with the information above and these strategies, you should be able to find a good fit. Do a trial session with the coach. Book an hour of coaching, see how it goes. Really simple, but you can tell a lot by being face to face with the person, or even through a video call with the person, and talk through some stuff, and you can have a real understanding of how they think then. Send them a questionnaire. Use this questionnaire to find out how they think, and send the same questionnaire out to multiple coaches so you can compare their answers. My advice for coaches on this one is respond honestly as a person, not as a business. If athletes feel lied to, that will break the trust, and that, I don't need to tell you, is not good. Ask your friends. Do you know this coach? Do you know this person? How are they? Are their technical skills good? Do they know about the ICF rules? Can they help me with psychological preparation for competitions? This is a really big one. Freestyle kayaking is such a tight-knit community. Everyone will know everyone, or at least they'll know somebody who can give you a bit of information. Now, this final part is about how you as an athlete should be working with a coach. You need to set clear goals and expectations. You need to communicate those clear goals and expectations with your coach. You need to communicate openly about your progress and challenges. You need to be receptive to feedback and willing to change based on the instructions and feedback that the coach gives you. You need to take an active role in your learning process. You need to use video review and other tools by yourself and collaboratively. Stick to the agreed schedule. If the coach asks you to implement the changes in the next week, do it in the next week. Regularly assess the relationship. Talk about how it's going for you and allow them the space to talk about how it's going for them. A lot of coaching can and will take place digitally with video review submissions and responses. Online meetings to discuss points further and general check-ins. In-person sessions are not necessarily required, but the benefits of removing the digital divide that exists with online communication and meeting in person is really well documented. The ratio of online to in-person can be set out based on the goals and skill areas under development between the athlete and coach. This section is about considering when to change coaches. while ending a coaching relationship is never easy, sometimes it's necessary for an athlete's continued growth. Here's how to recognize when the change might be needed and how to handle it professionally. There are 2 parts to this. Please watch the second part as well. You have a plateau in development. Progress has stalled despite consistent effort. Training sessions feel repetitive without a clear purpose. New ideas or approaches aren't being introduced. There's been a communication breakdown. Feedback isn't clear or constructive. Your concerns aren't being addressed. Sessions lack structure or clear goals. You feel uncomfortable discussing challenges. This can be because of how your coach reacts or how you feel listened to when you do raise these challenges. You could have misaligned goals. Your ambitions and your coach's ambitions could no longer match. The training focus doesn't align with your competitive goals. You could have philosophical differences with your training approach. If you do decide to move on from a coach, you need to make sure you make the transition professional. Before making the decision, have an honest conversation with your current coach about your concerns. Give them an opportunity to address the issues. Ensure the problems aren't just temporary setbacks. Once you've decided, have a respectful face-to-face conversation. Express gratitude for their contribution to your development. Be honest but professional about your reasons and give them appropriate notice. This is where that contract really comes in useful. Moving forward, maintain professionalism in the kayaking community. Avoid negative discussions about your previous coach. Take your time to reflect on what you've learned from the experience. Remember, changing coaches isn't about burning bridges. It's about finding the best path for your development in freestyle kayaking. The kayaking community is small, and maintaining professional relationships is important and is for everyone's benefit. In conclusion, effective coaching is more than just technical instruction. It's a partnership that can transform your freestyle kayaking journey. Through this discussion, we've explored the multifaceted nature of coaching through the TTEPPS framework, highlighting how each component contributes to an athlete's overall development. The key things to take away from this: coaching exists both in short term and long term. Each serves a different purpose and each has its own validity. The most effective training combines self-directed learning with structured coaching. A good coach-athlete relationship is built on clear communication, mutual respect, and aligned expectations. The TTEPPS framework is really useful and fairly comprehensive. If you like it, please use it. Now, moving forward, while the vision of coaching presented here may seem idealistic to many of you, it represents, in my opinion, a necessary evolution for freestyle kayaking. As our sport continues to grow, the sophistication and professionalism of coaching must grow with it. Rather than viewing these high expectations as barriers, we should see them as targets that will help everyone in this fantastic community. Consider how you can contribute to this evolution. Athletes, be proactive in your development, communicate clearly with your coach, and set high standards for your own training. Coaches, continue to develop your skills across all aspects of the TTEPPS framework. If you are an incredibly skilled technical coach, spend some time learning about the psychological side of things. More videos coming on that in the future. Community members of freestyle, parents, supporters, anyone. Support the growth of professional coaching in freestyle kayaking. It's important. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. By working together and maintaining high standards, we can build a stronger coaching foundation that will benefit freestyle kayaking for generations to come. And I know that sounds lofty, but if we don't try and make it better, it's not going to get better. In future videos, I will release videos under one of the TTEPPS frameworks heading. We'll delve deeper into practical strategies and applications for each component. This will create a toolbox for coaches and athletes to use for their development. If you don't feel too skilled in technical skills, these previous 5 videos are a fantastic place to start, as well as Bartosz's book Freestyle Unlocked. If you feel like your psychological skills are really not great, I'll be releasing videos to help you develop those skills more. I will hopefully be collaborating with other kayakers and other community members on different parts of these videos as well. If you want to produce a video under one of these headings, please do. If you know a lot about something to do with this and you want to share it with the community, please do share it. If you're watching this and you don't want to deal with all the recording and everything yourself and you want to collaborate with me, get in touch. I would love to do that. Be aware, I currently have 15 videos planned after this one across the whole TTEPPS framework, so keep an eye out for those. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. I hope you've enjoyed. See you on the water and see you next time.